Thank you.
No, that's actually the minutes. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I'll try it again. Hold on.
Okay, we are live.
Hello, everyone. My name is Will Shorter. I'm chair of the Public Library Board of Trustees. It is April 15th, 2021. It is 4:06 p.m. and I officially call this meeting to order, understanding that we have a quorum. Before I begin the meeting, I would like to acknowledge and thank all of the hardworking staff in our library system for their diligence and their continuous diligence over the course of these past months, and to acknowledge the fact that we have transitioned successfully so far to a no appointment and a walk-in model where our customers can come into the library and browse our shelves and use our resources. So thank you for all your hard work. And with that, I would also say that I had an opportunity to visit the Glen Burnie branch, the Brooklyn Park, the Linthicum, the Revere Beach temporary location, the Mountain Road, and the Odenton location since libraries allowed walk-in appointments. So I would like to challenge each of my fellow trustees on this call to, if you have a chance, please take 15 minutes out of your day to pop in and say thank you to the staff at the libraries and really show your appreciation for all of their hard work and their diligence that they have demonstrated. It's really phenomenal to see the resilience that they have demonstrated over the past year and continues to show. And also thank you to Gabby and Ruth for their technical support for this meeting. Now with that, to the main crust of the meeting, I will now entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I so move.
Ms. Smith moves. Is there a second?
I second.
Ms. Miller seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. The agenda is approved. Approval of the open meeting minutes from March 18th, 2021. If everyone has had an opportunity to review the minutes, I will now entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I so move.
Ms. Miller moves. Is there a second?
I second.
Ms. Sandra seconds it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The motion carries. The minutes have been approved. On to our treasurer's report. I will turn the mic over to Ms. Maxwell.
Thank you. The financial report presented is as of March 31st. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Is as of March 31st, 2021. We would expect at this time to receive and spend 75% of our total funding. There's no major concerns within the revenues as we have received 74% of the total to date. However, self-generating revenues are expectedly low, 17%, because of limited face-to-face services due to COVID. Our libraries have been closed and limited in how many people could come in at the same time at one time. And our self-generating revenues are expectedly low because of our new policy of forgiving fines. We only expect to receive about 20% of the funding for the self-generating revenues for the entire year. We are also projecting expenditures for personnel and business and travel will be lower than budgeted. Personnel will be affected mainly by vacancies, and business and travel will be lower than budgeted because of usage due to COVID. The reduced expenditures will fully offset the loss in self-generating revenues according to our projections. No other major variances are realized within the expenditures, as 73% of the funds have been spent to date. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Maxwell? Hearing none, I'll just make a quick comment. I'd like to really thank Ms. Maxwell for all of her hard work and, in all the chairs as, we're considering moving to a different model with our committees. I know Miss Maxwell has happily tolerated me for the past couple months and since transitioning from secretary to treasurer. So really appreciate all of your hard work.
Thank you. And I
Nice.
want to add to that, Cedric has been phenomenal, and I truly appreciate all his efforts.
Well, both of you deserve big kudos. Big kudos.
Are there any other comments? With that, we will go to our foundation report. I don't believe Ms. Beck is on the call, and so that leaves it all to you, Ms. Miller.
Okay. Yeah, Joan and I were going to split it, and I was going to ask if she was here. So I'll begin, and if she shows up, she can do the second half of it. Okay, the first point is we're thrilled to announce that we've updated our foundation information on GuideStar by Candid and have received the GuideStar Platinum Transparency Seal for 2021. GuideStar seals of transparency indicate to our donors that we have provided key information to our GuideStar profile. This recognition shows our commitment to transparency. More and more donors and funders are looking to GuideStar when making philanthropic decisions. By providing up-to-date information, we're helping our donors trust that we're good stewards of their funds. You can review our information on GuideStar, and the seal is prominently displayed on our Aacpl Foundation website. I know this is a big deal. I'm not, not a foundation expert, but I know this is a really big deal for us to have. The second point is the $100 for 100 Years campaign continues and has raised $36,475 to date from 293 donors. Email appeal was sent to 57,000 cardholders. Postcards will be mailed this month to foundation donors, including Aacpl retirees. Continued targeted and segmented appeals plus focused social media notifications will continue through the summer. This appeal ends August 31st, 2021 to ensure plaques can be created and centennial celebrations can be planned in each branch in early 2022. Next point. We held our first Library Giving Day on April 7th, and we raised almost $30,000, and the majority of the funds will support the Summer at Your Library program. We received $7,500 in matching donations from our foundation board of directors and a generous donor who wishes to remain anonymous. We want to thank our anonymous matching donor, community donors, trustees, foundation board members, and library staff who generously gave on Library Giving Day. Next point, to celebrate National Library Week and honor current staff, an anonymous donor graciously donated over 500 boxes of chocolates, which the foundation distributed to all library staff. Next point, the Aacpl retiree celebration will gather over 30 library retirees on a virtual Zoom celebration on April 29th. At the event, the State of the Library will be presented by Skip Aud and Kathleen Sparrow, and our new executive director will share how donor gifts make a difference at the libraries. Retirees will have plenty of time to virtually mix and mingle as well. Retirees may still RSVP by calling the foundation office. Next point, we'd like each of you to save the date as we'll be hosting the For the Love of the Library at the Bush Annapolis Library on Friday, October 22nd, 2021. We are planning an in-person event and will follow all necessary COVID-19 protocols. This is a fundraising event to support programs and services for all 16 libraries. For the Love of the Library is coordinated by a committee of volunteers led by Foundation Vice Chair Karen Smith, who's phenomenal. Tickets and sponsorships will be available soon. Next point, we'd like to thank the library's marketing and communication department and webmaster who helped tremendously in Library Giving Day. We'd also like to take a moment to thank our foundation team, Abby, Julie, and Gina, who have had a busy month with all of our fundraising efforts. They've done an exceptional job, and we look forward to seeing what the next few months bring in support of our library. And lastly, the mission moment. This is a lovely quote received from a donor on Library Giving Day. I'm more than happy to donate to the Library Foundation. We appreciate all of the services that AACPL provides, even more so over the past year as we've attended numerous online events, continue to check out materials through curbside pickup, and more. This concludes our foundation report. Thank you again for your support of our library through your donations to the foundation. Any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Are there any questions for Ms. Miller about the foundation report? Hearing none, and it's really great to hear that during these difficult times and as we see more light at the end of the tunnel, that the spirit of philanthropic activity is still flourishing in our county and that people are still recognizing the important significance of libraries in our community. So thank you very much. So we will transition to the CEO report and to staff report. And I have to admit, I have to embarrass you a little bit, Skip, on the public platform. When I was visiting one of the branches, one of the staff members commented that they like when I put you on a time limit. So I won't do that today, but to all the staff members, I'll keep the anticipation up. So tune into the next meeting to see what time limit I'll put Skip on.
All right. So here we go. Everybody sit back for the ride, I guess. So, okay, I have a few items, and I am going to mention that our executive leadership team also visited libraries on Monday. We got to all of the libraries, and it was great to do that. I know we're going to want to come out. We have such a great staff, both here at our headquarters as well as out in the branches. And so it was good to have that day. I want to thank all of our staff for living through a very difficult year. We're getting to the point where things are starting to open up. We do obviously have the walk-ins now and no appointment required. And hopefully by the fall, we'll be able to open up our meeting rooms again. We're just playing all of that by ear to wait and see. Well, I'm not sure if you have told the board or if we've talked about this, but we're planning to have the first in-person Board of Trustees meeting in June in Annapolis. So that's one thing we're hoping to be able to do. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. You've already talked about the reopening, and we were able to get vaccines for all staff who wanted them. I think most of our staff did want to get the vaccines. Many have gotten their second shot, and I think we're well on our way to getting that level of protection for staff, which is great. We always wanted it, and it just started to unfold about 3 weeks ago that we got lots of opportunities for all of our staff to get the vaccines. Coven worked quite a bit with the county health department and emergency management department in trying to make that all happen. I would just like to point out two opportunities this Saturday to all of you trustees and anyone else who's attending, watching this meeting through our YouTube channel. On Saturday, we have the Human Library, which will be a virtual human library at 10, 11, 1, and 2. So go to our website and you can sign up there. That's a really interesting program. It's been in person the other couple of years we've done it. I know Ms. Solomon has been one of the human library books in the previous programs, but this is a very interesting way to get to know people that you wouldn't have a chance to talk with. If you just go to the website and look at the description, you'll see kind of the backgrounds and in some cases the difficulties that some of these folks have faced, and you'll get to have a chance to have a one-on-one conversation. So I highly recommend that if you can sign up for that. There's a second event that is going to be in person from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Bush Annapolis Library. And that is, there's going to be electric vehicles. They're calling it Kick Gas. And it's going to be, I think, about 10 different electric vehicles there. People are bringing them to the Annapolis Library parking lot. So that's going to be quite a festive atmosphere and an opportunity to kind of take a look at and get to talk with owners of these vehicles. So I just wanted to mention those two things. And with that, I don't know if any of the executive team members would like to take a moment to speak to the board. We didn't talk a lot about this ahead of time, but if any of you have a brief statement you would like to make, this is your time.
Mr.
Go ahead.
Mr. Ald, I just quickly want to recognize Miss Anderson.
Thank you. So just two things. I guess on the electric vehicle thing, what date was that, Skip? Just quickly.
That's this Saturday from 10 to 2.
Okay, everything's happening in the world from Saturday 10 to 2. I would like to have done that. Okay, and the second thing is I'm under the weather, so thanks, Will, for letting me speak early in
Yes,
the
of
meeting.
course.
So my question is about the bylaws. And again, I'm usually just swamped up until the day or two before these meetings. So my question is, are the bylaws changed, or is it just suggestions right now? And the reason I ask is I see some things I have questions about.
They are proposed changes. The group,
Mhm.
the collective body, we have to make that decision as a whole. So if you have anything and if you would rather rest, but you can type something out,
Sure
I
thing.
to other members, and I have included it in a Word document that I'm
Sure.
going to bring out, and I'm going to present it also as other friendly amendments to it so that everyone's concerns are addressed. And I will also share what council has presented, and I also shared his document with everyone in full transparency. So
Awesome. So to be clear, are you wanting the comments electronically, like doing it with track changes, for example? Or do you want?
What would be easy at this point is if you notice something and if you can shoot me a quick email, if possibly
Sure.
right now, because how our bylaws, the process works is that you introduce them at a previous meeting, then it's tabled until the next business meeting, and that is this meeting, and then everything is contingent today. But if you're not feeling well, I can check my email and then I can add that. Then we can consider that language as a group today, and I can share that with everyone on the Word doc that I will share on my computer screen, so everyone can consider it as a collective body.
Right. And so also to be clear, the new bylaws changes reflect the breaking out of the committees and their separate meetings, right?
Yes.
They include that. And then I noticed that there are changes based on, or for lack of a better term, it looks like some cleanup work, maybe.
Yes, that you're correct.
Yeah, I'm concerned that we are taking some things out of the bylaws that may not exist in other places. When I came on board, I feel like there were like two documents. There were bylaws and then something or other else. And so when I came on board, having the public discourse during the course of a meeting, and I forget what that's called, like I call it meeting cadence. You know, what do you do during a typical meeting? I was searching through and I didn't see, like, if that goes away, where it would be.
Are you talking about public comment?
Yes, but just basically
that was never in our bylaws. That was just something that, if memory serves me correct, and correct me, members who have served prior to me, that was never officially in the bylaws, quote unquote. The only time that occurred was if a member of the public provided in writing that they would like to address the board, or if the chair wished to, that the chair granted that special approval. And then I believe Will Calhoun, and before COVID hit, and we switched to this virtual platform, allowed for public comment, but it was never in our bylaws. We can add in a friendly amendment if you wish us. The only thing I would ask is if you can just shoot me a quick email right now with that language where you
Right.
think it should be.
So, yeah, so during my initiation onto the board, that was mentioned, and I believe there were 2 or more documents, I think 2, and there was a mention of public comment in at least one of those documents. I can't say specifically if it was in the bylaws, and I know that there was a discrepancy between the 2. And so I guess this was 2018.
Yeah, in my opinion, it wasn't in the bylaws. However, I would be happy to defer to any members who have their hands raised, and I believe Mr. All does, but if Mr. Rowland or Miss Miller has any further insight, please feel free to correct me.
Looks like Skip's got his hand up.
Skip
You might
then,
be able to-
Mr. Rowland.
I guess.
I think what you've said, Will, is correct. I don't remember it being a part of the bylaws. I remember it being a part of us, whether it's in the Open Meeting Act or not, it's a part of the concept of the Open Meeting Act, where the public is invited to speak if they wish to speak. There was some
Right.
dialogue about the length of time that could be allowed for that,
Mhm.
and not prohibit us from being able to have the full meeting.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I recall that in 2018 that things did go on, but it seems, well, so in the language I saw, and I don't want to beat this to death because I don't want to, I'll put it in writing. But I think the spirit of having the public discourse without having to be invited or approved that's something I feel strongly about. But I think that the board should be able to manage that. So if there's a certain amount of time, then there's a certain amount of time. And we can, enforce that time so that we have the rest of our meeting. So I don't think that public discourse or public comment should be done away with just because we can't manage our time. For lack of a better comment.
That's fair, and I think that's something that as a body, I think it's fair that inappropriate that we consider as a collective body. Again, please send that to me if you
I
can
will
right now in an email. Write which section you think it should go under,
Mhm.
and try to follow some of the format so that once I put it in the Word doc, it's formatted, and then we will vote on it as a collective body.
Okay, so thank you for hearing me out.
Of course.
So fired up. Now I'm gonna go sleep. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Please, and get some rest.
Okay. Thank you, everyone else who listened through. Anyway, that's my biggest comment or my main comment on it.
Yes, and we will look out for, and I will look out for the email. We'll make sure that's considered. Mr. Alt, is there anything else or anything else?
Yes, just on the bylaws, and then I want to get back to calling on the executive team so we can finish up our brief reports. But on the bylaws, we used to have a section of the bylaws that was an order of business. So it had call to order, roll call, et cetera, et cetera. And that was completely taken out of these bylaws. It was, I think that in the process, either of Will or Kevin reviewing it, they thought this was not necessary. I do think that public comment has always been welcome. We had public comment on other issues, something like 6 or 7 years ago. And then of course, in 2019, we had a whole lot of public comment on the issues of the day at that time. So I think the longer term members of the board would remember when we had something like 50 people come into the boardroom here back around 2013 or so, and a lot of those people spoke. So we always would be open to public comment, but putting it into the bylaws doesn't hurt. So with that, I just want to I'll call on each of you. If you don't have a report, that's fine, but I'm going to call on each one of the executive members, starting with Kathy Hollerback.
Everyone, I'll just be brief. I just wanted to really quickly thank Ms. Solomon for coming out and helping us with the vaccine clinic at Bush Annapolis Library on March 29th. And thank you to the Annapolis staff and Gloria who made that happen. We had 96 members of our community vaccinated that day. And I thought it was a really great example of how the library works with the community. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. We really appreciated it and we were really pleased with how that went. So we're working on some more for the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Next, Coven, would you like to say anything?
Sure, just an update regarding COVID-19 and the vaccine. By far, the majority of our staff have been vaccinated, either through the county or through their own efforts of getting an appointment. But the staff have had a lot of excitement about getting vaccinated, and it's gone really well. Currently, I'm doing one last sweep of the staff, and I've already announced that on our Eliza, our intranet, asking anyone if they would like to be vaccinated, please let me know. Some people have missed the appointment or are just now deciding to get the vaccines. So I have received several emails of individuals that like to be vaccinated, but hopefully we'll be close to, I'm sure, 95% of the staff being vaccinated by the end of May, I'm sure.
Great, thank you, Coven. Christine?
So we're busy promoting that the library is open for walk-ins, and you'll be seeing more advertising, both print and digitally, in the coming weeks. As Skip mentioned, the members of the ELT did go out and visit the branches, and it was really great to see customers back in the building, and staff were really excited as well. So we're looking forward to getting more and more folks in the building. My team is also working on the 100th anniversary. You'll start to see what we call history walks at each of the branches. These are similar to the story walks that you may be familiar with, and those will go up in May, as well as some special commemorative bookmarks that will be available and personalized for each branch. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Christine. Rudy?
Nothing in addition to my written report, sir.
Okay, thank you. Cedric?
No, I have some new business items, so I'll address those at that time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Kathleen?
Joyce did a fabulous job with our foundation report. I'd also like just to add a quick note that we at the foundation are working on our annual development activities. Now that we're heading into pandemic recovery, we are really looking forward to the next 18 months. And I think you'll see a foundation, a little different picture of our foundation, and we're really trying to focus on asking our community for support and being more involved countywide. And you'll learn more about that as we move forward in the next, what I'm calling the new year, which I guess will be in June. And then I just wanted to thank each one of you for your support of 100 for 100 and Library Giving Day. I know it's a lot to be asking. It's just an unusual year with 100 for 100. And I hope to be able to provide you with the same thing that we're providing our foundation board members, is a list of philanthropic opportunities so that you can look at your own philanthropic giving and then plan for the year so that you'll know kind of where we're coming from. And I think that will help you make better decisions and be the philanthropic leaders that I know that all of you are. So thank you again. I appreciate the support, and it's our honor to be able to support the library with community donations.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen. So that concludes our reporting. Does anyone have questions?
Any questions for Mr. Aldo or his leadership team? Hearing none, thank you very much, and thank you for all of your hard work. And also, I just want to recognize Ms. Denny for all of her hard work and for every single meeting, always making sure that we have the Zoom link and all of the documents, and also hounding me to make sure I approve the agenda, which I often neglect to approve sometimes. So thank you very much, Donna.
Thank you for that. You're very welcome.
So on to the climax of our meeting, and hopefully we can finish it today, our bylaws. we're going to bring it back up on the table today. To follow up what we decided as a group, Kevin commented on it. The final document A you received includes his comments. What I will do is I will stop there and ask you guys, do you guys have any questions? Because there are some technical amendments that, based on his comments, I kind of didn't word correctly. And that goes to, and I will say that he said we have to meet according to state law once every 3 months. And I didn't write that correctly. That's my fault. If you guys want to fire me, that's okay. You guys can also take away my pay. I know I make a hefty salary here. Free to defer my compensation as well. But what I'll also say is that I also miss regular meetings. So you can also take away part of my retirement, whatever you guys feel like is an appropriate punishment for me.
No such luck.
No such luck. I'm sure when Don was the CEO of the company, he could come up with harsher punishments to put keep me in my place to make sure I don't make the same mistakes again. But with that, I will pause and I will ask you guys, do you guys have any questions based off of document A as it stands right now?
I just have a question. On page 2, it appears that the red text is what it came from Kevin, correct? And then it's just
On
like
document, are you looking at document A, ma'am?
that's a good question. Okay. Came from you. I don't see any
Oh,
label.
document A is from me. That's the final one.
Okay, maybe I'm not looking at the final.
Yeah, document B includes the original one with Kevin's comments. I'm just trying to keep it clean because I don't want to confuse. I included the original one with Kevin's comments so you guys can see the whole picture.
Okay, so I'm hoping that hanging statement is complete. So I will
Yes,
go through.
yeah, the whereas is, and I will explain that.
Okay.
That it didn't make its way in there because when Kevin put it in there, everything in there, although it's well-intentioned, it's not completely accurate. And I can walk you guys through it because Maureen, when she gave us our recommendations, she did not recommend these committees to us. So to put that in there would then to give the board of trustees, if the future board reviews it 10 years down the line, they will be walking in with context that's not
okay
100% correct. So I don't want to mislead them with wrong information. Did Kevin do it with malice intent? No, it's just it wasn't what Maureen Sullivan recommended to us when she presented her recommendations.
Oh, I didn't think there was any.
Yeah, and it's a whereas, and a whereas doesn't carry the same weight as therefore let it be enacted. That's the actual policy that carries the weight of we have to do X, Y, and Z.
Okay, thank you.
This context. Does anyone have any other questions? So with that, procedurally, I will entertain a motion to accept that part. Then I will talk about amendments that we're going to amend on top of that so that we can do it in a procedural way. Then we'll amend the whole bylaws. Does that make sense? Okay, so with that, I will entertain a motion to, and I see Ms. Beck has joined us. Hi, Ms. Beck. That I will entertain a motion to accept the first round of edits as outlined in document A.
I so move.
Ms. Miller moves. Is there a second?
I second.
Ms. Smith seconds. Are there any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The first round of amendments are approved. Now on to the second round of amendments. Can everyone see my screen? So with the second round of amendments, we have amendment A, B, and C. Amendment A and B corrects what I messed up in the first amendment. So it strikes business and substitute regular. Amendment B clarifies that we will meet once every 3 months to conform with state law. And Amendment 3 clarifies what Ms. Smith brought to my attention, that it is confusing in Article 3, Section A, that it talks about the number of trustees is limited to 24, but as we know, we're going to 17 members, I believe. And that is stated in Section 1303, Section E. So instead of saying except as otherwise stated wherein, which is pretty much saying elsewhere in the document, it's going to say except for as stated in Section 3.03E, stating that we will transition to 17 members, that's the number of trustees, just to provide clarity because it was a little confusing. Does that provide the clarity you were looking for, Ms. Smith?
Yes, it does. I couldn't
See,
get
I
my.
told you I was in the business of making people happy today. So that clarifies that. Now, also, I will accept Amendment D, and I would say appropriate place. And this is to address Miss Leslie Anderson's point. I don't know. I think this is going to go in Section 1, and I see Skip hand is up. So Skip, feel free to talk. But this will give us the authority to place in the bylaws at the appropriate place, that the public can comment for a reasonable time at any regular meeting as designated by the chair. Would we be comfortable with this type of language as a oral amendment, or is there a strong preference that we want to pick exactly where we want this to go? I am fine either way we want to approach this as a body, but I'm just thinking, just because this was brought to my attention by Miss Anderson, and since she's sick, this may be the best course to go. However, this is our decision as a body. I'm not hearing anybody, and that makes me a little nervous.
Mr. Chair.
Mr.
Well,
Ault? Oh, Miss Beck.
yeah, I was just going to comment that I thought this was kind of not the place to put this. I think after the whole thing is put together and you know what you're going with, then it would be appropriate to even do a public comment announcement to the public that the whole thing has been redone. But once you open that up to public comment, however you do it, be prepared.
And well, just to give you more context, because you just joined, Miss Anderson had to leave because she wasn't feeling well, but she believed that it was appropriate because of some instances where the board did allow, but it wasn't in our bylaws. And Mr. Rowland said to comply with the spirit of the Open Meetings Act, that language in here should be considered by the group. Now, if the group doesn't want to put this in here, that's that is fine. But if it's the spirit of the Open Meetings Act, then we have to abide by it, because
I just don't think it should be an amendment.
okay.
I don't think it's appropriate as an amendment to
Okay.
make this statement.
Should we make a reference to the open meeting guidelines anywhere?
Well,
And then we wouldn't have to put anything in the bylaws other than a reference to our following the rules on open meetings.
I'm fine with that, and I believe we do when it comes to going into closed session. And I say that to point out the fact, and I think it goes to Miss Anderson's point, and I'm only saying this to play a little bit of devil's advocate because she's not here to present a little bit of another point of view here, is that since we put that in the bylaws to demonstrate the closed meeting act and the closed meetings section of the Open Meetings Act, I think she wanted language in here to also show the public comment side of the Open Meetings Act as well, to make sure that we're following that spirit as well.
Well, is that, could that be an appendix, the open meeting? I don't understand, if we've referenced the closed meeting part, why wouldn't the open meeting part also be there, or a reference to it? I'm not quite sure I understand.
Yeah, and that's for this body to decide. I was just saying that to give everyone a different perspective.
Yeah.
To consider. Again, anyone can amend these bylaws at any time. And if we don't think this is the best time to include it, that's fine. And I can let Miss Anderson know that the body, decided that the amendment was not agreed to at the time, or we can discuss that another time. But I want to give everyone a chance to comment on it if they have a different perspective. Ellis?
Yes, I think what the issue is the power of something being a bylaw versus a guideline. And maybe that's where we're running into.
I think that's true.
To me, a bylaw is something that's foundational. It's the core of what the organization does. And a guideline doesn't carry, for lack of a better term, as much weight, but gives us the premise and how we conduct what we do. So I think that's maybe what's causing the conflict. I heard what Ms. Anderson said, and I do believe in public comment, and I'm even going to go as far as saying staff comments, and can those be made perhaps anonymously? I don't want to discuss it this meeting, but if we are a public institution that's supposed to represent our constituents, there definitely should be time and space for comments, but we have to decide as a body how we handle it, because I do agree that if it's in an open forum, it could be very easily get off track and we may not be able to discuss the business. So how do we strike a balance in conducting the business of the board in a timely fashion that benefits our constituents, but also allowing those very people we serve an opportunity to share their views? And I think that's what we're struggling with. And maybe we have a public comment, not every single meeting, but maybe an X number of meetings per year. And we advertise that, and those comments, people can have time prior to our meetings. I mean, I think we can do it a variety of different ways as long as it meets the legal aspect of what we're doing. So I think that's why we're having some trouble with it. I am not opposed to having public and staff comments, in fact, but where do we want to place them and how do we want to implement them? I think that's the struggle.
No, thank you for that. And this is, if it's the will of the body, we can do this. Is there a motion to table Amendment D?
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second? Ms.
Second.
Atkins, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Amendment D has been tabled, and that means that we didn't vote down the amendment. We're just tabling it for further consideration, and we can talk about it at another time where we can have a more dynamic conversation. Mr. Auld?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is going back to Amendment C, and I believe that the section that should be referenced, it should say except as stated in section 3.02.
Exactly. Yes.
So I would make that as a change to that. It's not 3.02E or anything. It's just 3.02 because there's several statements there. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Like this? All right.
Yes.
With that, does anyone have any additional comments or concerns?
I do. Well, I mentioned this to you in an email. I wasn't sure why M in 3.02 M was put in. I don't know if you want me to read it or
Yes,
not.
please read it.
Okay, it says, in the event that all 8 of the county nominee positions as classified herein are not yet filled prior to the June meeting in 2016, the governance committee shall solicit and recommend to the board and its executive committee an initial an initial trustee class of no more than 1/3 of the then existing board or 8 members, whichever is less, who have been appointed prior to November 15th that may wish to voluntarily agree to serve for only one additional 3-year term, thereby forfeiting said trustee's right to seek reappointment subject to any new applicable term limitations. And the government's and its executive committee additional classes of trustees to likewise serve initial terms of office for terms of 4 years and 5 years in order to carry out the intent of these bylaws and endeavor to ensure continuity and preserve corporate knowledge by staggering the terms of office such that approximately 1/3 of the governing board shall eventually commence a new 3-year term each year. I thought, didn't we fill the county requirements prior
I think
to?
it's I think it's there to provide context of how we got here today.
Oh, okay. You mean just for a historical significance?
That's the way I see it. And if that wasn't there, and if something were to transpire, and I'm gonna kindly pick on you, and I'm like, well, why may Joyce be here if she filled one of those criterias? That gives me context because our bylaws allowed it. So it gives your seat legitimacy from my perspective. I don't know if whoever was involved in deep conversations with that has a different perspective or a different understanding, and I'll let Mr. Auld comment, but that's just my understanding of it all.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I was going to call on Mr. Rowland to clarify. I think from what I know of it, and he was at the heart of the work with Kevin Best and others to develop bylaws at that time. as I understand it, that was, and there's several sections, not just M, but several of those that guided the board through the process of the major transition to having county nominated positions and these two classes of positions. And once we get through, it seems to me that once we get through the full process of a full transition to where we're down to 17 members, that at that point, these elements could be stripped out.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. Mhm. All right.
The underlying thing that was going on with that kind of wording was the need for us to, we wanted a guarantee that every trustee there at the time who was there without term limits had at least 9 years, that they would go through three-year terms unless they chose not to. That was then, what we tried to do then was also develop classes that retired in 3-year groupings. And if you let everybody stay for 9 years and then you begin to attrit, people would have been there for 12 years and 15 years. So the idea was just in the event that you did not have the turnover, because this board had incredible longevity of the members. And so just in case there wasn't that kind of turnover, that we would make an attempt to get those who are guaranteed the 9 years to go ahead and leave early. We anticipated, and it turned out to be the case, that there were some people who were close to retiring from the board anyway and wouldn't need that. But it was in order to create that stair-stepped 3-year term ahead of the end of the 9 years.
Okay. Mhm. All right, that makes sense.
So it's complicated because of that anticipation. That's no longer a need. I think we've got people in 3-year terms now sufficient to where we don't even have to worry with it.
Yeah, and that's why I wondered why it was still there. But I understand historically why we have it in there.
Yeah, so I can appreciate Will's concern that he have continuity and keep it in there as long as it could be asked about any of the board members who are currently on the board.
Right. Okay.
And I think, it doesn't hurt because it doesn't break any of our processes anyway. So it isn't like it's harming anything or if it's conflicting anything, even if there were none of the members that were on the board. If anything, it would be a cleanup, but it wouldn't harm anything, even if it was still in there, because it just wouldn't apply to anybody.
Right.
Right.
Correct.
So
Okay.
with that, are there any other clarifying questions or concerns?
Mr. Chairman, this may or may not be, I'm looking at 30, I think it's 303.02. And I'm just wondering, item F, where it says board members are not to be compensated. And then it says board members are not.
Nice try, but you can't get paid.
But what I was going to say, the second part of that is, do we need to update are not exempt from late fees, fines, or other library user fees since we no longer charge fines?
I can accept that as a friendly amendment, but existing policy already
Okay.
already does that. And the slippery slope is this. Every single time we adopt a policy, it may involve us or it may pertain to us as library customers, then that would trigger us having to do that. I think that if the policy is blanketed and there's an understanding, and I think that there is language that there is no special exemptions for us as trustees, it takes care of that. There's no language. But if Miss Ellis would feel comfortable with that, as I told Ms. Smith earlier on the phone, I'm in the business today of keeping people happy today. And if that will make you happy, I will gladly put that in there.
If we have that understanding, that's not necessary. I'm totally fine. I just wanted to just do a note keeping thing to make sure, just because the policies have changed, but that's totally fine.
Yes. But nice try with the compensation. I wish though, but Mr. Ald?
Well, I think we're
Remind
fine.
everyone about the time, just.
Yeah, I think we're fine. Yeah. No comment.
Okay. And with that, are there any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, I will accept a motion to vote on Amendment A. Well, technically, I would say A.2 because we did document A earlier. But Amendment A.2, Amendment B, Amendment C. Do I hear a motion to adopt those onto the proposed bylaws?
I so move.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All
Aye.
those opposed, nay. All right. So we have our revised amend bylaws, and I believe we have to suspend the old bylaws so that we can adopt a new one. So am I correct in that parliamentary procedure? Fred isn't here anymore, and he used to be our parliamentarian procedure. Skip?
I think once you adopt the new bylaws, they replace the old bylaws. So you adopted that.
Okay. Now we adopted the amendments. I just want to make sure we adopted before we adopted the
We adopted the entirety of the proposed revision.
No, we adopted the amendments. These are amendments.
Okay, I thought the very first, sorry, I
No.
thought that your very first amendment was all of the, okay, I understand now. So yeah, you have,
Okay.
I think that once you adopt these new bylaws as amended, you'll.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. All right. I will hear a motion to adopt the new bylaws as amended. Is there a motion?
I so move.
Is there a second?
I second.
Properly being moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The bylaws have been accepted. Thank you guys very, very much for your patience, your phone calls from me, and really to come up with something to really strengthen our governance process. So I look forward to trying out a new system. And as with anything, if it doesn't work, we will admit it frankly, and you guys can blame me, and then we can go back to the old system. But thank you guys very much for your hard work and dedication with that. Now, I'm going to try to get everyone out of here, and I'm signaling this to everyone, staff and trustees, that we're trying to get out here by 5:30, and we have some business to get to. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Grant to present his two items under new business.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very quickly, I just wanted to reiterate that you received via email, and you should receive in the mail a conflict of interest form. I'm sure that everybody is familiar with that form. We just need to have that signed by the trustees and sent back via mail, or you may drop it off at our office. Again, if you have any questions concerning that, you can feel free to reach out to me. But that Again, I'm sure that everybody is familiar with that form. My second item has to do with, I have a resolution that was included also in your packet to transfer funds for educational supplies. Briefly, I was just proposing a transfer of $36,500 from our budget account 90107439, other professional services, to budget account 90108331, which is our other supplies and materials. This is necessary just to purchase programming supplies for our summer activities. Some of our programs we won't be conducting because of COVID. So we would like to use some of those dollars in order to purchase educational supplies for our summer activities.
Thank you, Mr. Grant.
That's all I have. Yes.
I will hear a motion to approve the transfer of funds as presented by Mr. Grant. Is there a motion?
I so move.
Ms. Smith moves. Is there a second?
I second.
Ms. Miller seconds. Is there any discussion? Pardon me. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. You get your transfer, Mr. Grant. Now moving on to motion to approve amendment to annual leave policy to convert leave carryover from 2021 to sick leave. Mr. Roundtree.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In July of 2020, a resolution was passed to remove the limits on the carryover amount for annual leave and as well as comp time, and that was approved. But with this resolution that we're seeking approval on, will basically reinstate those limits effective July 31st. But also it will allow the individuals who have any type of amounts over that carryover amount to convert that over, a one-time provision to convert that over to sick leave. That will not only allow the staff to benefit or not lose any of that leave, but also it will contribute towards their retirement if they choose to carry that over to retirement. So we are seeking approval for that. This is a practice that the county actually uses. So we are seeking to do this as a one-time provision so the staff will not lose any leave due to the pandemic. And this will once again be effective on December 31st.
Thank you, Mr. Roundtree. Is there a motion to approve the conversion from leave to sick leave?
I so move.
Ms. Ellis moves. Is there a second?
I second.
Ms. Miller seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The motion carries. And also thank you to the staff for all of your hard work. And we are happy to make this amendment in the policy in your interest. So thank you. So with that, we are going to adjourn to go into closed session to approve the closed meeting minutes. And the reason why we are going into closed session, if you give me a quick second, is to also discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction, any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. With that, I will now accept a motion to go into closed session.
I so move.
Ms. Smith moves. Is there a second?
I second.
Ms. Miller seconds. The Board of Trustees is now in closed session. Please, everyone, click on the button to go into the breakout room.
Right. Anyone who is not in the breakout room, just go ahead and let me know. I'll just go ahead and add you to the list as needed. let's see. Ruth is not in the closed meeting. That's good. Cove and Cedric. I think like I said, that's it. So. Yeah, I believe that's everybody. I think it's just us CPL friends here. Yeah.
So we're expecting the board to come back after the session, correct?
They did the last time.
Yes,
came back
I
and
was thinking they were coming back.
All right.
Came back like officially closed and then it shut down.
Yeah, because they should have the freedom to pop between them.
Mhm.
So if they do break, they can come back to the main area.
And then we're still live on YouTube, correct?
Correct, we're live. However, as you can see on Ruth's screen here, it's showing we're currently in the closed session.
Okay.
We're live, so our voices are still going out, just as an FYI.
Yeah. Correct.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so I don't know if you need to mute or anything. This is your gentle reminder to do so.
Hey, Gabby and Ruth, can you guys make sure everyone is out of the breakout rooms if possible? We're going to come back to approve the closed meeting minutes.
Sure.
Thank you.
Went ahead and close the room. Everyone should be back in just a minute.
Looks like everyone is back. All right. We are now in open session. Now I will accept a motion to approve the closed meeting minutes from March 18th.
I move that we approve the minutes from the March 18th closed session.
Ms. Miller moves. Is there a second? Ms. Solomon, all those approved signify by saying aye. Aye. Nay, the ayes have it.
Aye.
Motion before, motion to adjourn.
Awesome.
Ms. Ellis, motions to adjourn. We stand adjourned. Thank you guys very much.